The 2024 solar eclipse is due to become one of the biggest phenomena of this year. Considering we've had the whole Miami Mall incident, we've had so many other countless things going on. This is so hyped and there's so much speculation and conspiracy surrounding it, it's impossible to know what direction to turn in anymore. Now, the speculation has run wild. At the time of recording, it is actually April 8th. So, you know, we are due to have the solar eclipse at some point today. And it's going to be, you know, widespread seen across America, especially through states like Texas, New York, Niagara Falls, some parts of Canada and things like this. And, you know, the whole speculation around it is, will there be extraterrestrials coming out of the solar eclipse? Will they expose themselves? Is there going to be, you know, a ramp up in paranormal activity? Is the veil between the real world and the living world and the dead world kind of comes thinner? CERN is firing up its Hadron Collider for the first time in 4 years, just out of the blue, to look for dark matter. It's all kicking off and the speculation is running wild, and it has not slowed down, and it has been amplified by news stations and by people on the internet. And you know, we're going to go through some of these claims. I've been through most of them already in a previous video that went out a couple of days ago, so if you haven't seen that, go and check that out. But we've also got some debunked clips and claims that we're going to go through as well, which, you know, kind of raises a few more eyebrows. So we're going to get straight into it now. Before we do though, be sure to come and join us on a Wednesday and a Friday at 8 PM UK time for a live stream so we can discuss these topics live. It is a new thing that we're going to be doing every Wednesday and Friday, and if you want to become a channel member, get down in the description and there will be a link. You know, do all the good stuff down there as well. Jump scare the hell out of this video, jump scare the hell out of that like button on this video if you haven't already. Anyway, let's get into it. So the first clip is talking about the eclipse on a recent podcast. Take a little listen to this.
A solar eclipse that happened in 2017?
Yes.
The news are like, hey, make sure you wear the right sunglasses because they sell fake sunglasses, and don't stare at the sun for too long.
Yeah, they fry your eyes.
The warnings this time are, make sure you have gas in your car.
What?
Make sure you have at least 2 to 3 weeks of food and water. Make sure you know where your family's at, so if you need to contact them, make sure you have an AM/FM radio. Have a printable map. Oh, and they issued the National Guard to be in these cities during the eclipse.
Get your chickens.
There's a couple theories. One of my theories is that we're going to experience something catastrophic again, like this Earth opening up.
Yeah.
And then another theory is then that's when Russia is going to launch that EMP attack. And then that's why all these billionaires are building bunkers.
Oh, jeez. Guys, we got to get our acts together. Well, we got till April 8th.
Yep, we got it.
3 days from now.
Everybody, hurry!
But I'm not saying that to scare anyone, but I'm scared.
Dude, and that's just life, isn't it?
Death, am I right, guys?
Yeah, they did the world. Yeah, so, I mean, come on. Remember the...
Obviously, it's a bit jovial, you know, people are just kind of poking fun at the whole situation, and, you know, it is a situation to kind of be like, this is crazy, because, you know, the conspiracies are wild, and they don't need to be that wild, but they are. But there are some truth surrounding it. Obviously, you know, Texas was in a state of emergency for over a week now regarding this situation. Niagara Falls went into a state of emergency. Illinois went into a state of emergency. Like, it's pretty wild, and it's like, people are like, well, why? Why are they doing states of emergencies prior to the actual event? Because usually, you don't see the state of emergency prior to an event. You see it during or in the aftermath of an event. But that's where we're at, and it gets even crazier when on Fox News were talking about that recent earthquake that went on around New Jersey and New York, which happened a couple of days ago. I think it was Saturday or Friday, I can't quite remember. But if you listen to what the news reporter says, he goes on to talk about other earthquakes, and he talks about eclipse earthquakes. Take a little listen to this. Is there something that they know that we don't know? Is there a forecast for an earthquake? I mean, you can't 9 times out of 10 predict an earthquake, but I have seen lots and lots of TikToks surrounding this and talking about earthquakes during the solar eclipse. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, and in this case, you know, you could put it down to the fact that, you know, we all do it. They were recently talking about the earthquakes in New York and New Jersey. So, you know, he could have, you know, he'd be like, if he's moving on to the segment about the a solar eclipse, he could just get the two mixed up. Eclipse, earthquake, you know, it happens, it does happen, but that's just my hypothesis. But I have seen a lot of theories that when the planets, obviously the whole eclipse happens because the Earth, Moon and Sun align, and that's how the solar eclipse happens. The gravity's pull from the Sun and the Moon, even though the Moon hasn't got that strong of a gravity pull, but you know, it like basically magnifies, and then it like moves the tectonic plates, which is obviously what causes earthquakes, the friction of the tectonic plates shifting, and then like this rupture when they like the tension gets too much and it just lets out this like boom. You know, for anyone that doesn't know geography. But I don't think that that's going to happen. It is obviously a conspiracy theory that's running around the internet. I think a lot of people are jumping on the conspiracy theories because it's a good opportunity to talk about conspiracies, because no one knows what's going to happen, so therefore you can create conspiracies. But there is a dedicated site called USA Today News, and they have a full-blown article debunking misinformation conspiracy sparked by the 2024 solar eclipse. Fact check roundup. So we're going to take a little look at this because it's well worth a little listen. So on April the 8th, obviously there's the total solar eclipse, which is going to shroud the homes of tens of millions of Americans into darkness. And it's, you know, it's going to last around 4.5 minutes, I think. So, you know, basically, we're just going to jump straight into the facts. We're not going to mess about. We're just going to get straight into it. So, claim. CERN will start up April 8th to open a portal during the eclipse. R rating? False. The Post is wrong about both the timing and the nature of CERN's work. CERN's equipment began operating in March, a month before the eclipse, and the technology is nowhere near as strong enough to open a portal or a black hole. Now, that's all well and good, but they started, I mean, this, I had a read of this, and, you know, this is why I wanted to include it, because yes, they do kind of fact check a lot of the claims out there, but some of the fact checks aren't quite accurate. So the reason that CERN started up their Hadron Collider back last month was to make sure that it worked in preparation for April 8th. So, you know, it wasn't started up back in March because that's when they started their testing. It was actually so that they started up so that they could make sure that the machine would be fully operational, considering it hasn't been operational for over like 2 years. So they needed to make sure that it worked in preparation, and then it meant if there were any failures or any glitches or bugs, they could fix them and iron them out so that they could have a perfect run on, well, today. So, you know, bit hit and miss that one. But the next one. Claim. April 8th solar eclipse will cause 3 to 5 days of darkness. Now that's pretty wild, but they're saying that this is false. The claim is nonsense. The entire planet will not go dark for days. Only those located in the narrow path of the totality will experience any significant darkness, and experts say that that will only last for about 4 minutes, and that is true. From the research that I've done, you know, there's not going to be 3 to 5 days of darkness. I mean, that is one hell of an eclipse, and something is going seriously wrong, because that would literally mean that we've stopped orbiting the sun, and it would also mean that the Earth has stopped spinning, and it would also mean that the moon has stopped orbiting our planet, which means that there is, I mean, if there is 3 to 5 days of darkness, something greater has gone significantly wrong. And, you know, I think 3 to 5 days of darkness would probably be the least of our worries, as literally one half of the planet would not get sunlight for 3 to 5 days, which means that they would freeze over. So yeah, not exactly a great conspiracy to be running around and shouting from the rooftops. But the next one, the claims NASA is launching 3 rockets at 3 moons during the eclipse is apparently false. NASA plans to launch 3 rockets during the April 8th eclipse to study the effect on the upper atmosphere. The Earth has only 1 moon, though many other objects such as satellites orbit the planet too. Now, that's all well and good to say, but also I believe that they are launching the rockets to try, because obviously the dark side of the moon is called the dark side of the moon because it is in constant darkness. It is very, very difficult to get a gauge on anything. but I believe that the rockets are being launched because obviously when the back of the moon is going to be fully illuminated because of the lineup. So, like, I think from what I've heard, they have already launched a rocket to try and see around the back of the moon to see if there's anything, you know, untoward around there. Not untoward, because they're obviously not going to say that we're looking for something spooky around the back of the moon. They're obviously doing it for scientific reasons, just to see what's around there. But yeah, that was also one of the claims as to why they're launching these rockets. But obviously, if they launch a rocket, it's never going to reach the moon within the 4 minutes of the eclipse, which means that they're going to completely miss the window. It would have had to have been launched already. Anyway, claim. Eclipse crosses 7 cities named Nineveh? Crosses 2017 eclipse path in Little Egypt, Illinois. Partially false. Now, I'm interested to see why this is partly false. This attempt to link the eclipse to biblical locations whiffs on the details. There are 2 Ninevehs, not 7, inside the April 8th eclipse's path of totality. That is shown in the post. The other 5 Ninevehs will just see a partial eclipse. Like nearly all of the continental US, the eclipse paths do cross in Little Egypt, but that's a large region, not a town. Now, that is from the research that I've done, where I've looked at the kind of the crossover paths, because I've done a lot of looking into this to see if there's any kind of weird, smelly stuff going on. But the way that they cross, if you take a little look at the path of totality. For the both the April 8th eclipse this year and the 2017 eclipse, there is one specific crossover location which actually, if you see here, which is on NASA's website, it's right in this region here. As you can see, complete crossover. And there is like one city or state, well, it is actually a little town and city, where for the first time in like recorded history, there is this kind of crossover. And you know, there's conspiracy theories about it, but it's just complete like coincidence, really. It's just, there's nothing really to it, if I'm perfectly honest. But you know, people love to run wild with the internet. Anyway. Claim. A Birdman was seen 7 days before the eclipse. R rating? False. The photo of a silhouette in the sky has circulated online since at least November 2016 and is unrelated to the April 2024 solar eclipse. Experts say that the concept of a Birdman, as shown, is logically impossible because the wings wouldn't support the weight. Fair enough, there's not too much to really look into there. Claim. 3 rockets being launched by NASA during the eclipse are part of sex magic ritual. I've never heard this one ever. I didn't even know that this was a thing. Anyway, the NASA rocket scheduled for April 8th will be used to study the eclipse's effect on the upper atmosphere, as they were during a past eclipse. There is no evidence the rockets are tied to any ritual, sexual, magical, or otherwise. I mean, that's a wild one. I've never heard that one. Right, we've got a couple more to get through here. So, the National Guard FEMA hazmat teams were never activated for a solar eclipse before 2024. Apparently, this was false. Similar preparations took place in 2017 when Oregon National Guard soldiers were deployed and 4 Federal Emergency Management Agency regional centers across the country were activated ahead of the total solar eclipse that year. The hazmat team involved in the April 8th preparations is part of the National Guard's response, not a separate entity. Now, this is where the whole speculation comes from, because everyone's like, well, what do you know that we don't? If you're like willing to, you know, there's all these agencies being set out and stuff. Well, I don't know. Like, you know, it's probably crowd control. Let's be real, because you know there's going to be thousands, if not millions, of people on the streets looking up at this eclipse for the 4 minutes of totality, and you know everyone wants a glimpse of it. It's a natural phenomena that you know only happens once every kind of decade. So it's really a sight to behold. I'm quite jealous that I'm not there, but you know it's nothing. I don't think it's that deep. The sun and the moon will not be aligned for 2024 eclipse. Now, this is kind of one that I've seen more recently, which is that if people have pulled up these star maps and you know, they followed the maps and the paths of trajectory for the moon, the Earth orbiting around the sun. When they fast forwarded to April 8th, they saw that basically you've got like let's put the moon in the middle, okay? So the moon's here, and imagine like the sun's up here and the Earth's down here, okay? So you've got the moon, and the sun's going to be like here, and the Earth would be like here, which means that the moon, obviously we'd still see the sun and there would be no kind of alignment. But the issue there is that these are computer generated, and yes, they can be incredibly accurate, but there is room for error and inaccuracies. So, you know, you're never going to have complete accuracy. And people have seen this and been like, this is Project Bluebeam. This is aliens. This is the US government trying to disclose aliens and, you know, trick us all into thinking that there's an eclipse, but actually there's something so much deeper, and it's CERN's opening up some portals, because look at this, no alignment whatsoever. The sun's here, the moon's over there, and Earth's pinged off into another galaxy. It's not right. And it's just, I've watched it and I've just been like, I'm pretty sure I lost IQ from watching them. But anyway, let's see what the article has to say. The moon, the Earth and the sun will be briefly aligned on April 8th, causing a total solar eclipse. Scientists can predict eclipses based on planetary movements. Now, this is literally using actual maths and not computer generated imagery. So yeah, there's what we know so far regarding the solar eclipse and everything that's going to be happening around the solar eclipse. And you know, obviously today is the day. I will without a doubt see you tomorrow for another video, and we're going to be talking about another alien topic, and we're going to be back to normal. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that there are going to be TikToks, Twitter threads, there are going to be Facebook posts, Instagram posts of people saying that they saw aliens during the eclipse, and, you know, computer generated images, because people are they're gonna feed off it like Miami Mole, and they're just gonna be like throwing crap out there, and they're gonna be like, I was there and I witnessed aliens, I was there and I saw a ghost, I was there and I saw a portal, I was there and the eclipse never happened. The government are lying to you, and it's just like, it's gonna be an absolute storm for about a week. So strap yourselves in, because, you know, if there is anything of substance to it, I will be covering it. But if there's no substance to it, you're not gonna see it on my channel, because I don't do that BS. Anyway, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you are going to watch the eclipse, I don't know when this video is going out in parallel to the eclipse happening, but if it, you know, if it goes out and it hasn't happened already and you're watching it, go and enjoy yourself. Don't look at it for too long, because I don't want you burning your eyes out. And, you know, enjoy it. It's a moment to behold. Enjoy it, and, you know, just make the most of it. And I'll see you tomorrow for another video. And, you know, if I don't, then I'm giving false hope, and I'm sorry. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. And if the eclipse has already happened, let me know how the eclipse was. Let me know down in the comments. Did you see it? Was it good? Was it everything people made out to be? Did you see an alien? Let me know. Anyway, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. Be sure to jump to get the hell out of that like button if you have not already. Subscribe if you're new, and tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload to this channel. And until next time, I hope that you have enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you in the next one, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.